Hey guys, this tutorial will be also a very fast one. It's about the color component, and you can already kind of see we stripped down the functionalities of the components to really handle one specific thing. This way you don't have that much overload. Of course, there are some components that are a little bit more complex, like the drag component or the component visual from the Archviz pack, but in general, we really tried to strip them down to handle one specific purpose. The color component, as the name is already telling, it handles different colors. And what you can do with that is really up to you. We have a simple example where it changes the color of the light here. So if I hit play and I press the button, you can see I'm just going to cycle through different colors here with my light. And we also have a nice transition effect again. If we open up the component here, you can see we have a default value and we have an array of possible colors. And we can just add to this array, for example, let's add this one and maybe this one. Oh, this one here. So now they are part of the array and will also be cycled through. So here I have my red color, my yellow color. And you can really add and remove them how you like. You can also change this here for a different default color, and don't forget to hit the apply settings, and the result will instantly be available in the editor here. And you can also choose the next color or the previous color. And of course, all of those functions here are exposed in Blueprint, so you can use them in your own Blueprint setup to whatever way you like. One thing you need to consider, again, it's the same approach. Our components have a tag. In this case, it's the light bulb color component, and the drag component of the button. If we scroll down, it has the light bulb color component tag, and also very important, actors to trigger is the light bulb itself. So it's the same we already have seen here in the active component, and it will be the same for the other components we talk about. I'm going to repeat this quite often because this concept is really important now, because again, you can have a lot of different, for example, color components on one actor, and you really need to specify what color component you actually want to talk to, or what open component or active component. So this really gives you a lot of different possibilities. Okay, let's have a look quickly at the light bulb itself on how this was set up. We already talked about this one in our active component tutorial, so I'm going to ignore this here. So what we are basically doing here is, if we call the event that the color was changed in the editor, we set the variable for the new light color. And we have this little macro for manipulating timelines, where we can set a timeline to the start or end position. This is very handy if you're using timelines to lerp for between different things like we do here. So in this case, what we're doing is we say this timeline, we just want to jump to the endpoint. And in this case, it will just go to the ending here. So it has the value of 1 in this case. And it will lerp between the old light color and the new light color. With the value of 1, we only have the new light color. And we also set here the material, and we set the color of the light itself. So if we cycle through the different colors here with our node in the game, we also set the new light color, and we play the timeline from start to lerp between both of them. That's basically all we are doing here. Very simple example. You can do it even more simple. Going to show you simple example with the light, because light just makes sense with the color component. And if you came up with something different, please let us know, because I think there are quite some useful things you can use this, but it's really hard finding a lot of examples if you create a new version. So let's do a simple color light, and we add a point light and also our color component color. Hit compile. And what we want to do is, if the color is changed, we want to set the light color to the new color, like this. So this should already work. One thing we need to do is we actually need to add some possible colors. So let's add a new color here. This one, and maybe a bluish color, like that. We still haven't connected those functions here, so we need to do that. But if we search for the next color, it should already work fine. So we can cycle through the red and the blue color. So this is already working fine. And we can even trigger it with our drag component here. So we need to have a tag for our component color. Component color light. And again, use a descriptive name. Going to copy that. Go into my drag component. First, I'm going to select the actor I want to trigger. So in this case, this actor. And now I'm going to add the tag of the component I want to trigger. It's our component color light. And now you can see if I press the button, I can cycle through my two colors. Okay, perfect. If we want to connect this apply settings here, it's basically the same we did previously. We add the in editor color state changed, and I'm going to hook it up like this, and the color goes in there. So nothing fancy in there, just hit compile, save. And now if we change the color and hit the apply settings, you can see this is working now too. I can go to the next color, to the previous color. All of this is set up the way it should be. Okay, this was a very simple example, but again, the color component is a simple component. But I wanted to show you a more advanced approach. Well, if you're familiar with materials, it's not that advanced, but let's use the color component to actually change the color of a mesh. So I'm going to create a new actor here, BP color mesh. Let's add a mesh here, lovely cube, and of course our color component. In order for this to work, we need to create a material with a parameter we can change dynamically. So this would be the first thing to do here. I'm going to create a new material. And I'm going to convert a 3-vector to a parameter and call it color. Also copy the name and plug it in the base color. So very simple material here. But this parameter we want to change with our color. So the first thing would be to actually assign the material we just created to our cube here. And let's use our color state in editor first, so we can change it in the editor and see if it is working. What we want to do is we want to create a dynamic material instance. The source material is our material we just created. We can get it here, get material, and plug it in here. So it will use the material with the index 1. In this case, we just have one material. So this is working perfectly fine for our example here. And the next step would be to actually change a vector parameter. Set vector parameter value. The parameter name is the one we just created. So in our case, the color. And the value will be our value from our color component, like this. And I think I'm also going to include an example of that in our example map, so you will have it in your map folder. So let's check. This should be fine. Let's hit compile and save. Drop the actor in here. So now we need to add some colors here. Let's add a couple of them. Like this. And if I press the next color, you can see the color of the actual material itself is changing. So that's really cool. And of course, you can do whatever you want with this material. For example, if I want to have a metal cube, plug it in here. And now I have a cool looking metal cube I can cycle the colors through. But we haven't connected the actual in-game logic for that. This is just for the editor. Let's go in there and also add our color state changed event. And now I'm not able to connect it like this here. But I want to use the same functionality. So I can create a function out of this, or I can make a variable out of the color. So in this case, let's use the function, because I already showed the other approach with the active component. And I'm going to use my, what's it called? Change material. And I'm going to call the same function for my in-game event and input the color. Let's check that everything in there is the way it should be. So this is my new color. One thing we could do here is to actually do this only once and save that in a variable. So we don't need to create a new dynamic material instance every time. And let's give it our component tag again. So this is our component cube color, for example. And now I'm able to connect it to the actual button here. Just going to rotate it a little bit that we get this nice reflection. So I'm using my drag component again. First, I'm going to add the actor itself. So it's the cube. And second, I'm going to add the component I want to change. And now if I hit play, we should be able to cycle through the colors of the cube with our button. Okay, cool. I hope you get a good idea of what you can do with this little component. And I'm going to see you in the next tutorial. Bye.